My name is Nathaniel Lane. I'm with MLabs, and I'm here to present our proposal for the Memory-augmented LLMs RFP. Our proposal is called RIGEL, which stands for Retrieving Information Using a Gated Encoder LLM. And I'm just going to present a very high-level overview of what we intend to do here. So to begin with, the general problem with LLMs as they stand today is that they can only draw information from their own memory, um, i.e., all information is stored within the neural network, within the parameters, the weights and biases. They can't really rely on any information that lies outside of their training sets. So for us, that would be as if we couldn't rely on any information that we haven't memorized. Um, so to give a concrete example of why this is a problem, back in 2015, 20 new lines of the Epic of Gilgamesh were discovered. This is a truly foundational piece of literature in human history. It has a strong legacy, and yet ChatGPT is unable to give a summary of those 20 lines. This is a quite important discovery that it had no knowledge of. Meanwhile, if I ask it to do an in-depth analysis of the lyrics to the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song, it gives a long, long response, even longer than what I can show here. And I'll also note, I misspelled SpongeBob in this prompt, and it still was able to figure it out. So there's very clearly a problem here. Um, so in order to figure this problem out, our team began by figuring out what the human approach is. And so when we have a question that regards information that we don't have memorized, we begin by abstracting that question, i.e., figuring out what is the essence of that question. So over here, I have an example of kind of a workflow that might apply. So if we are asking the question, what is a good recipe that uses chicken? Then we might abstract that and say, okay, I'm trying to identify a recipe. It needs to have chicken. Those are the important elements. We can use that to identify relevant materials to search through. So we're going to want to look at cookbooks. We're not going to be interested in computer science textbooks or history textbooks or literature textbooks. It's cookbooks. Then we can look through those materials with the essence of the question in mind. We can synthesize the abstraction of our question with the information contained within the cookbook. We can look through the table of contents for chicken. We can look through the index for chicken and identify our answer, which in this case may be chicken tortilla soup. Moving that into a computational approach, we start with our query and apply an encoder to get that kind of abstraction. We would then use that abstraction to search through a list of documents and synthesize that with the encoded query via a decoder. And then we can use that to generate response. They query and abstract it, and then they decode it to generate the response. Our proposal generates, adds this document library that can be searched through. It begins by creating this bottom-up abstraction that we use to generate a top-down retrieval method that sorts through all of the documents and identifies their context vectors, which is that sort of abstraction generated by the encoder. And we feed both pieces of information into the decoder, which is really the missing piece of the puzzle right now in LLMs, is only the information from the encoder is fed into the decoder. Um, so with that, I believe I have adequately summarized the meat and potatoes of our proposal, and I'd like to thank you for giving me a chance to explain what our proposal is all about.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So